Hi, I'm Brad. Thanks for checking out part 2 of my jazz theory video series. Today we'll be dealing with how to practice your 2-5-1 progressions. If you have not yet checked out part 1 of this series, the introduction to the 2-5-1, I would suggest maybe you do that now. But if you're ready to move on to how to practice your 2-5-1s, well, let's get going. The thing that you want to do when you're practicing your 2-5-1 progressions, you want to develop a number of patterns and scales that will help you navigate the 2-5-1 progression. Here is a scale pattern that gets us through 2-5-1 if each chord is one measure a piece. 1. Right? So in that case, my 2-5-1, the 2 chord and the 5 chord, were 4 beats each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that is not always going to be the case. Sometimes you might have 2-5-1 where it's only 2 beats each for the 2 and the 5 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So in that case, instead of a 4-beat pattern, you'll want to do something that can navigate that 2 beats each. So instead of something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you might use something more like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. See? And that gets you through a 2-beat pattern. Yeah. Now on the way back down on that pattern, I used something called the octatonic scale or the half-whole scale. I really like that one for the 5 chord because it gives me a lot of altered tones. It gives me the flat 9, the sharp 9, and the sharp 4, the raised 4, right? So it gives me all those altered tones in there. And I use that every time that I have a 5 chord, right? Now you might ask, well, if you always use the altered tones, are they really the altered tones, or would it perhaps be more striking to use notes from the diatonic scale? That's a valid question, and the answer is no. Just use the altered tones. Yeah, so, sometimes I will have a student who is a little reluctant to put in the time that they really need to for their 2-5-1 progressions. I think maybe they feel like the music that they're into or the way that they imagine that they want to sound, they feel like it's not related to those kind of patterns or scales, And so with a student like that, I just tell them, hey man, you need to go back and you need to listen to the masters, You need to listen to Train, you need to listen to Miles, and what do you hear? You hear 2-5-1s, right? You hear 1. That's what you hear, or not, maybe not that exactly, but you do hear 2-5-1s in the tunes, and you hear 2-5-1s being addressed, and so usually they go back, they do their listening homework, and they put in the time, Occasionally, though, I will have a student that they come back to me and they're like, man, I'm doing the listening homework and I'm just not hearing it, I mean, I hear where there are 2-5-1 progressions in the tunes, but I'm not hearing the patterns and the scales that we're working on in our lessons, And, honestly, I can't fault a student like that, because they're still immature, their listening has not really gone deep enough yet to really hear it, So they're just hearing the surface, they're just hearing like a beautiful melody, they're hearing clever phrasing, maybe they're hearing a great ensemble vibe, maybe they're even a little distracted by some really, really great group interaction that happened or something, or maybe they're just responding to some sort of mysterious quality that makes great music great. It's kind of hard to put your finger on it sometimes, that little ineffable something that separates truly genius playing from just very accomplished playing, And, granted, I mean, all that stuff is an important part of the music too, But that stuff is very hard to teach, you know. So we always start with the 2-5-1, 2-5-1, right? 2-5-1. And I just tell my students, you know, yeah, just practice those scales and patterns along with some MIDI tracks or something. Don't really worry about playing with other people just yet. And all that other stuff will take care of itself, you know. So that's how to practice your 2-5-1 progressions. And check out the next installment in the series. We're going to be dealing with the tritone substitution. All right. Peace.